She flew 8,000 miles to close the biggest deal of her life. He was the billionaire Korean CEO, a stone-cold business prince who wasn't supposed to show up until tomorrow. But the moment their eyes met across that icy conference room, all the rules, all the professionalism, went right out the window. One night of reckless passion, one promise he couldn't keep, and one devastating secret she carried 8,000 miles back home. Now she's back in Seoul. He's engaged to someone else in an arranged marriage to save his empire. She has two choices: disappear with a $5 million bribe, or march into his office and tell the most powerful man in South Korea that she's carrying his baby. This is the ultimate forbidden romance. Get ready for "I don't care you hate me, that's my baby inside you." The conference room felt like ice despite Seoul's summer heat bleeding through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Kate Williams gripped her presentation clicker so hard her knuckles ached, watching 12 pairs of eyes dissect every word that left her mouth. She'd flown 8,000 miles to pitch a revolutionary AI integration system to Summit Entertainment, one of South Korea's biggest media conglomerates, and she wasn't about to let jet lag or cultural barriers stop her from closing this deal. "As you can see from the projections," Kate continued, her voice steady despite the butterflies rioting in her stomach, "implementing this system will cut your content production costs by 40% while doubling output quality. My team has already successfully integrated similar systems for 3 Fortune 500 companies in the States." The executives murmured among themselves in rapid Korean. Kate caught fragments, her limited knowledge of the language picking up words like impressive and ambitious, but also risky and expensive. She'd prepared for this moment for 6 months, working 16-hour days, missing her best friend Tasha's wedding shower, sacrificing every weekend. This deal would make or break her consultancy firm. The door opened. Every head in the room turned. Kate's presentation froze mid-sentence as a man walked in, and the temperature in the room seemed to shift entirely. He moved with the kind of confidence that didn't need announcement, tall and lean in a charcoal Tom Ford suit that probably cost more than Kate's monthly rent. His dark hair was styled with careless precision, and his face held the sharp, elegant features of someone who'd graced magazine covers. But it was his eyes that arrested her, dark and intelligent, sweeping across the room before landing on her with an intensity that made her forget her next bullet point. "Mr. Park," the CEO stammered, actually standing, "we didn't expect you until tomorrow. My meeting in Tokyo finished early." His voice was deep, accented but perfect English, smooth as aged whiskey. Those eyes never left Kate. "Please continue. I'm interested in hearing more about this proposal." Kate's heart hammered. Jason Park. She'd researched him obsessively, knew he was Summit Entertainment's 32-year-old CEO, that he'd taken over the company at 22 after his father's retirement, that he'd transformed it from a mid-tier production house into an entertainment empire. Forbes called him the Prince of Korean Entertainment. Business Insider dubbed him the Midas of media. But none of her research had prepared her for the physical reality of him, for the way he commanded space simply by existing in it. She cleared her throat, found her voice. "Mr. Park, I was just explaining how the AI system can revolutionize your content pipeline." "Show me." He slid into the chair at the head of the table, leaning back with casual authority. "Convince me why I should invest $8 million in an untested American system when I could develop something in-house for half that cost." The challenge in his tone made something competitive flare in Kate's chest. She'd dealt with arrogant CEOs before, men who thought her youth and gender meant she didn't know her business. She clicked to her next slide. "Because in-house development will take you 3 years minimum," she said, meeting his gaze directly. "I can have you operational in 6 months, and that $8 million, you'll recoup it in the first year alone based on production efficiency gains. But more than that, Mr. Park, you'll have a competitive edge your rivals won't match for half a decade. In this industry, that's not just money, that's dominance." Something flickered in his eyes. Interest, amusement. He leaned forward slightly. "You're confident." "I'm right." Kate pulled up a case study. "Last year, I integrated this system for Paramount. Their streaming content production increased by 63% with a 28% cost reduction. The year before that, I did the same for Netflix's Asian division. They're now producing twice the original content they were before my system. I'm aware of your work, Ms. Williams. The way he said her name sent an unexpected shiver down her spine. I've been following your career for the past 8 months. That's why you're here. Kate blinked. You requested me specifically. I request very little that I don't get. He stood, buttoning his suit jacket. Gentlemen will implement Ms. Williams' system, draw up the contracts. Ms. Williams, you'll stay in Seoul for the implementation phase. I trust that's acceptable. Yes, of course. Excellent, my assistant will arrange your accommodations. He moved toward the door, then paused, glancing back at her. There's a gallery opening tonight at the National Museum. Contemporary fusion art, East meets West. I think you'd find it interesting, if you're not too tired from your flight. Was he asking her out? Kate's mind raced. Every professional instinct screamed this was a terrible idea. You didn't date clients, especially not clients worth billions. But something in his gaze, something warm beneath that controlled exterior, made her heart skip. I love art, she heard herself say. 8 o'clock. I'll send a car. Then he was gone, leaving behind the faint scent of expensive cologne and a room full of executives staring at Kate with newfound respect and something that looked like concern. The CEO cleared his throat. Ms. Williams, you should know that Mr. Park is very particular about the company he keeps. Kate gathered her materials, trying to process what just happened. I appreciate the concern, but I can handle myself. I'm sure you can. The older man's expression was kind but worried. Just be careful. Jason Park is not a simple man. That night, Kate stood in front of her hotel mirror, second-guessing everything. She'd changed outfits 4 times, finally settling on a sleek black dress that was professional enough to maintain boundaries, but elegant enough not to look like she was trying too hard. Her natural curls fell past her shoulders in carefully maintained waves, and her makeup was subtle but polished. She looked good. She looked ready. But ready for what? Her phone buzzed. Tasha's face filled the screen via video call, her best friend's eyes immediately suspicious. Okay, why do you look like you're about to commit a felony? I'm going to an art gallery, Kate said, checking her lipstick one more time. In a dress that costs more than my car payment. Girl, who is he? It's not like that. He's a client. And does this client have a name? Jason Park. Tasha's shriek nearly burst Kate's eardrum. The Jason Park, the billionaire CEO. Kate Williams, are you insane? You don't mix business with pleasure, that's like your #1 rule. It's just art, Tash. Networking. In a little black dress at 8 p.m. That's called a date, honey. Kate's phone buzzed with a text. Your car has arrived. She grabbed her clutch. I have to go, I'll call you tomorrow. Kate, use protection, professionally, just be careful. The car was a sleek black Mercedes, driven by a polite young man who spoke perfect English and made zero small talk during the 20-minute drive to the museum. Kate spent the time alternating between excitement and panic. This was crazy. She was about to spend the evening with a man who could make or break her entire career with a single phone call. A man who made her pulse race just by looking at her. The museum was stunning, all modern architecture and dramatic lighting. Jason waited at the entrance, and Kate's breath caught. He'd changed into a more casual charcoal suit, no tie, top button undone, looking effortlessly perfect in that way some men managed without trying. When he saw her, his expression shifted into something appreciative. You came, he said, as if there'd been doubt. You sent a very persistent car. His smile was small but genuine. I'm known for my persistence. He offered his arm. Shall we? The gallery was packed with Seoul's elite. Everyone dressed in designer labels and dripping with jewelry. Kate felt eyes tracking them as they moved through the space, whispers following in their wake. Jason seemed oblivious to it all, his attention focused entirely on her as they stopped before a massive canvas that blended traditional Korean ink techniques with modern abstract expressionism. What do you see? He asked. Kate studied the piece. Conflict, tradition fighting against innovation, the old refusing to give way to the new, but the new refusing to erase the old. There, coexisting, uncomfortably. That's exactly what the artist intended. Jason's voice held approval. Most people just see a pretty picture. You see the story. Everything has a story. Kate moved to the next piece, a sculpture made of traditional Korean pottery shards reconstructed into a decidedly modern form. Even broken things can become something new, something beautiful. Do you believe that? She glanced at him, found him watching her instead of the art. I have to. My parents died when I was 15. Car accident. I went into foster care, aged out at 18 with nothing but a GED and a dream of college. I put myself through school working 3 jobs, built my company from my dorm room. I'm literally reconstructed pieces, Mr. Park. Jason, he said quietly. Call me Jason. That doesn't seem appropriate given our business relationship. Then perhaps we should establish that tonight isn't about business. He guided her to a quieter corner of the gallery, near a window overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. I didn't ask you here to discuss AI systems or implementation timelines, Kate. I asked you here because from the moment you walked into that conference room, I couldn't stop thinking about you. Kate's heart hammered. Jason, I don't think. I know what you're going to say. It's unprofessional. It complicates things, you're right. He stepped closer, close enough that she could smell his cologne again, something expensive and understated. But I've spent the last 10 years of my life being professional, making the right decisions, putting the company first always. And for the first time in a very long time, I want to make a decision that's just for me. You don't even know me. Then let me know you. His voice dropped lower. Tell me something real, something that's not in your professional bio or your company website. Kate shouldn't. Every logical brain cell screamed at her to step back, to maintain boundaries, to remember who he was and what he represented to her career. But something about the vulnerability in his eyes, the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the room despite the hundreds surrounding them, made her want to be reckless. I'm terrified of failure, she admitted. Every single day. I built everything I have from nothing, and I'm constantly afraid it'll all disappear. That I'll wake up and be that scared 15-year-old again with nowhere to go and no one who cares. Jason was quiet for a moment, his gaze softening. My father had a stroke when I was 22. Massive, sudden, left him partially paralyzed. He'd built Summit from the ground up, and suddenly I was expected to run it. I had a business degree and 2 years of entry-level experience. The board wanted to sell. My mother was devastated. My little sister was still in high school, and I... He paused, something painful flickering across his face. I was terrified, but I couldn't show it. Couldn't admit it, because everyone was looking to me to be strong. Are you still terrified? Every day. His smile was rueful. I've just gotten better at hiding it. They stood there, the noise of the gallery fading into background static. Just 2 people who'd spent their lives building walls finally acknowledging the weight of what they carried. Kate felt something shift in her chest, a connection she hadn't expected and definitely hadn't prepared for. This is dangerous, she whispered. I know. We should keep things professional. We should. Neither of them moved. Then Jason's hand came up, fingers barely brushing her cheek, a touch so gentle it almost didn't exist. Tell me to stop. Kate knew she should. Knew this was crossing every line she'd carefully drawn in her professional life. But when she looked into his eyes and saw the same longing, the same desperate need for something real that she felt, the words wouldn't come. I can't, she admitted. He kissed her then, soft and careful, like she was something precious that might break. The gallery disappeared. Seoul disappeared. Everything disappeared except the warmth of his mouth on hers and the way her heart felt like it might burst from her chest. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Kate knew with absolute certainty that her life had just changed irrevocably. Come with me, Jason murmured against her lips. Where? Anywhere, everywhere, just be with me tonight. They left the gallery hand in hand, slipping out a side entrance into the warm Seoul night. Jason's car took them to a quiet restaurant tucked away in an alley, the kind of place with no sign and 6 tables where everything was perfect. They talked for hours, sharing stories and dreams and fears, learning each other in the way people do when they know time is limited and precious. He told her about the pressure of living up to his father's legacy, about his younger sister, Jaiwoo, who wanted to be a doctor despite family pressure to join the company, about his mother who'd never recovered from his father's stroke and lived in a state of constant anxiety about losing everything they'd built. Kate shared her own story in fuller detail: the car accident that killed her parents, the foster homes, some kind, most not, the teacher who saw her potential and helped her apply for scholarships, the loneliness of building success when you had no one to share it with, the constant feeling that she was one mistake away from losing everything. "You're not alone anymore," Jason said, his hand covering hers across the table. "Not tonight." They ended up at his penthouse, a stunning space with windows overlooking the Han River. Kate knew what would happen next, knew she was making a choice that might complicate everything. But as Jason pulled her close, as he kissed her with a desperation that matched her own, she decided that some things were worth the risk. That night was everything. Gentle and passionate, intense and tender, two people finding solace in each other after years of being strong alone. They made love like they were trying to memorize each other, like they knew this might be their only chance. And when Kate finally fell asleep in his arms, she felt safe for the first time in longer than she could remember. She woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and an empty bed. For a moment, panic seized her. Then she smelled coffee and heard movement in the other room. Relief flooded through her as she grabbed Jason's shirt from the floor, buttoning it as she padded barefoot into the living room. Jason stood by the windows, phone pressed to his ear, his expression grave. He was speaking rapid Korean, his tone sharp and urgent. When he saw her, something in his face shifted, pain and regret flashing across his features before he could mask them. "I have to go," he said into the phone, then ended the call. "What's wrong?" Kate asked, suddenly afraid. He crossed to her, cupping her face in both hands. "My father, he had another stroke, a bad one. I have to get to the hospital." "Oh my God, Jason, I'm so sorry." "I need to." He looked torn, desperate. "Kate, last night was—" His phone rang again, shrill and insistent. He glanced at it, jaw tightening. "I have to take this, it's the hospital." "Go," Kate said, even though everything in her wanted him to stay. "Your family needs you." He kissed her quickly, hard and almost desperate. "I'll call you, I promise. I'll call you as soon as I can." Then he was gone, throwing on clothes and rushing out the door, leaving Kate standing in his penthouse wearing his shirt and wondering if she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life, or found something she'd been searching for her whole life. Before we continue, if you've enjoyed Kate and Jason's love story, please hit that subscribe button so you never miss another amazing tale of love conquering all obstacles. Drop a comment below telling us what you loved most about their journey. And smash that like button if you believe true love is worth fighting for. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep believing in the power of love. She waited all day, then another day. Her phone stayed silent. She threw herself into work, meeting with Summit's technical team, beginning the implementation process, telling herself Jason was dealing with a family crisis and would reach out when he could. But a week passed. Then two. Kate saw him once. Across the Summit lobby, surrounded by executives and looking exhausted. Their eyes met for just a second before someone pulled him away, and Kate felt something crack in her chest. He wasn't going to call. Whatever they'd shared that night, it was over. Just a beautiful mistake that would forever be filed under "What was I thinking?" Kate made it through the implementation, professional and efficient, refusing to let heartbreak interfere with her work. When the system went live successfully and her contract was complete, she booked the first flight back to Atlanta and tried to tell herself she wasn't running away. She made it 3 months before her world imploded for the second time. Kate stared at the pregnancy test, then at the 3 others lined up on her bathroom counter, all showing the same impossible result. Positive, 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 positive. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no, this can't be happening." But it was. She was pregnant, with Jason Park's baby. The man who'd ghosted her after one perfect night. The man who'd made her feel seen and safe and special before disappearing from her life completely. Tasha found her sitting on the bathroom floor an hour later, still staring at the tests. "Kate, I brought Chinese food and—" "Oh shit. Oh shit, Kate, is that what I think it is?" "I'm pregnant." Saying it out loud made it real. "I'm pregnant with Jason Park's baby, and he doesn't even know I exist." "Okay." Tasha sat down beside her, wrapping an arm around Kate's shoulders. "Okay, we're going to figure this out. First question, what do you want to do?" Kate pressed a hand to her still flat stomach. She'd built her career on logic and planning. She should be panicking, making pro-con lists, considering all her options rationally. But beneath the shock and fear, something else bloomed. Something that felt almost like hope. "I'm keeping it," she said quietly. "I know that's crazy. I know I'm not ready, that this will derail everything I've worked for. But Tash, I grew up with nobody. No family, no roots, nothing. This baby." Her voice cracked. "This baby is mine. Family I choose, and I'm not giving that up." "Then we'll make it work." Tasha squeezed her tight. "But honey, you have to tell him. He deserves to know." "He ghosted me, Tasha. He made it clear that night meant nothing. Or he's dealing with a family crisis and hasn't had the headspace to reach out to the woman he spent one night with. Either way, this changes things. This baby deserves a father who knows they exist." Kate knew her friend was right. Knew that despite her hurt and anger and fear, she had to tell Jason. He'd made her feel things she'd never felt before, shown her a version of himself that was vulnerable and real. Whatever happened between them, whatever he decided about being a father, she owed him the truth. 2 weeks later, Kate stepped off a plane in Seoul for the second time, her stomach churning with morning sickness and nerves. She tried calling Jason's office, but his assistant had stonewalled her. "Mr. Park is unavailable. If this is regarding business, please email your inquiry." No amount of explaining that it was personal had gotten her through. So here she was, showing up unannounced at Summit Entertainment headquarters. Hopping security wouldn't throw her out before she could deliver the news that would change both their lives forever. The lobby was exactly as she remembered it, all modern glass and steel and corporate elegance. Kate approached the reception desk, trying to project confidence she didn't feel. "I'm here to see Jason Park." The receptionist, a young woman with perfect makeup and a cool expression, barely glanced up. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but I'm Kate Williams. I worked on the AI implementation project last quarter. It's urgent that I speak with him." "Mr. Park sees no one without an appointment. If you'd like to schedule something." "Please." Kate hated the desperation in her voice but couldn't help it. "Just tell him I'm here. Tell him Kate Williams needs to speak with him. 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking." The receptionist's expression softened slightly, perhaps hearing something in Kate's tone that spoke to desperation rather than mere business urgency. "I'll see what I can do. Please have a seat." Kate sat in the waiting area, watching executives and assistants hurry past, everyone important and busy, and belonging in this world of power and money. She felt completely out of place, a girl from foster care who'd clawed her way to success, now clutching a secret that could destroy everything. An hour passed, then 2. Kate was about to give up when someone approached her, a young woman in her early 20s with kind eyes and Jason's bone structure. "You're Kate Williams." Kate stood. "Yes, I'm sorry, who are you?" "Jaiwoo, Jason's sister." She glanced around, then lowered her voice. "I saw your name on the visitor log. Jason talks about you, or he did before." "Before what?" Jaiwoo bit her lip. "Come with me. There's a coffee shop around the corner. We should talk privately." Kate followed her out of the building, anxiety spiking. Something was wrong, she could feel it. They settled into a quiet corner of a nearby cafe, and Jaiwoo ordered them both tea before finally speaking. "My father's stroke was severe. He's been in and out of the hospital for the past 3 months. The company, there were complications, a hostile takeover attempt, board drama. Jason's been working 20-hour days trying to keep everything together while dealing with my mother's breakdown and my father's recovery." She paused. "He wanted to call you. I know he did, but there was just..." So much happening. Kate's anger softened, replaced by understanding and guilt. I should have reached out, I just thought. That he ghosted you, Jaiwoo smiled sadly. Jason doesn't talk about his personal life much, but the morning he got the call about my father, he came home looking devastated. Not just about our father. He kept saying he'd ruined something important, that he'd let someone down. I think he meant you. Jaiwoo, I need to tell him something. It's important. Can you get me in to see him? He's in meetings until 5, but there's a situation you should know about first. Jaiwoo hesitated. There's going to be an announcement tomorrow. Jason's engaged. The world tilted. What? It's not what you think. It's arranged. Business merger with the Han family. Their daughter Sunhee and Jason have been promised to each other since they were kids. With everything happening with the company, with my father's health, the families decided to move forward with the engagement. Jason agreed because he thought he didn't have a choice. Kate's hand moved unconsciously to her stomach. I have to tell him. Tell him what? Kate met Jaiwoo's eyes. I'm pregnant with his baby. Jaiwoo's teacup clattered against the saucer. Oh my God. I came here to tell him, and now he's engaged to someone else, and Kate's voice broke. I don't know what to do. You have to tell him. Jaiwoo grabbed Kate's hand. I don't care about the engagement or the business merger or any of it. Jason deserves to know he's going to be a father, and you deserve to have him make a choice with all the information. What if he chooses the engagement? What if he decides I'm just a complication he doesn't need? Then you'll know, and you'll move forward. But Kate, my brother looked at you like you hung the moon. I saw photos from the gallery opening, security footage from that night. I've never seen him look at anyone like that. Give him a chance to make the right choice. Kate spent the rest of the afternoon trying to calm her racing heart. Jaiwoo had gotten her access to the building, telling security Kate was there for a follow-up consultation. Now she sat in a small conference room, waiting for Jason to finish his meetings, rehearsing what she'd say. The door opened at 5:30. Jason walked in, exhausted and distracted, scrolling through his phone. He looked thinner than she remembered, shadows under his eyes, a tension in his shoulders that spoke to months of stress. Then he saw her. Kate! Her name on his lips was shock and longing and regret all at once. His phone clattered to the table. What are you? How did you? I needed to see you. Kate stood, suddenly unsure. God, he was beautiful, even exhausted. I tried calling, but your assistant. I know, I'm sorry. He moved toward her, then stopped himself, hands clenching at his sides like he was physically restraining himself from touching her. Kate, I wanted to call you every day, every single day, but everything fell apart. My father, the company, I didn't want to drag you into this mess. So you just cut me out completely. I thought it was kinder than pulling you into chaos. He ran a hand through his hair. A gesture of frustration she remembered from their night together. I thought about you constantly. That night, what we shared, it was the most real thing I've experienced in years, and I ruined it. Jason, I'm pregnant. The words hung in the air between them, impossible and transformative. Jason froze, his expression cycling through shock, disbelief, and something that might have been hope before his walls slammed back into place. You're certain? His voice was carefully neutral. Kate wanted to throw something at him. Yes, I'm certain. You're the only man I've been with in over a year. The baby is yours. He sat down heavily in the nearest chair, hands covering his face. Kate watched him process, her own emotions rioting. She'd imagined this moment 100 different ways, but somehow reality was worse than any of her scenarios. The silence stretched between them, each second feeling like an eternity. Finally, Jason looked up at her, and the raw emotion in his eyes made her chest ache. Are you keeping it? Yes. Good, he stood abruptly. That's good. We'll figure this out. I'll take care of everything. Medical care, living arrangements, whatever you need. I don't need your money, Jason. I need to know if you want to be a father. Want? He laughed, a bitter sound. Kate, I just found out I'm having a child with a woman. He stopped himself. It doesn't matter what I want. There are complications. Your engagement. Kate forced the words out. Your sister told me, congratulations. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Jason moved to the windows, staring out at Seoul's skyline. My father's stroke triggered a crisis at the company. We were vulnerable and the vultures circled. The Han family proposed a merger, their capital for a controlling interest. The price was an engagement between their daughter and me. It's business. Does she know that? Sunhee understands the arrangement. That's not what I asked. Kate moved closer, anger replacing her uncertainty. Does the woman you're engaged to know you slept with someone else 3 months ago? Does she know you got that someone pregnant? No, he turned to face her. And I don't know how to tell her, or my family, or the board. Kate, this engagement isn't just about me. It's about hundreds of jobs, about my father's legacy, about keeping Summit alive. Breaking it off could destroy everything my father built. And what about our baby? Kate's hand moved to her stomach. What about what we're building? I don't know. The emotion finally broke through his control, raw and desperate. I don't have answers. I've spent 3 months trying to hold everything together, and now you're here telling me I'm going to be a father, and I want to be happy about that, but all I can think about is how I'm going to disappoint everyone no matter what I choose. Kate felt tears threatening, but refused to let them fall. She'd come here for answers, for clarity, for some sign of what to do next. Instead, she'd found a man drowning in obligations who couldn't give her what she needed. I should go, she said quietly. Kate, wait. No, Jason, you need to figure out what you want. Not what your family wants, not what the company needs, not what's best for everyone else. What you want. And when you have an answer to that, you know where to find me. She walked out of the conference room, out of the building, back into Seoul's busy streets. Her phone buzzed almost immediately. Jai-woo. How did it go? About as well as a train wreck. Kate flagged down a taxi. I'm going back to my hotel. Don't leave Seoul yet, please. Give him time to process. Time to process what? That he's engaged to someone else while I'm carrying his child. No thanks. I've seen enough Korean dramas to know how this ends. But she didn't leave. Couldn't quite bring herself to book that flight. Instead, she stayed in her hotel room, ordering room service and trying not to cry while watching terrible Korean variety shows she didn't understand. Her phone stayed silent. Jason didn't call. 3 days passed. Kate was seriously considering just going home and raising this baby alone when someone knocked on her hotel room door. She opened it to find an elegant older woman in a Chanel suit, her expression cool and appraising. Ms. Williams, I'm Park Hae-jin, Jason's mother. May I come in? This couldn't be good. Kate stepped aside, letting the woman enter her modest hotel room. Park Hae-jin looked around with barely concealed disdain before settling delicately on the edge of the desk chair. I'll be direct, she said in perfect but accented English. My son told me about your situation. I'm here to offer you a solution. A solution. $5 million, American, transferred to any account you specify. In exchange, you sign a non-disclosure agreement, you return to America, and you never contact my son or our family again. The number was staggering, life-changing. It was also completely insulting. Kate felt rage building in her chest, hot and righteous. You want to buy me off, buy your grandchild out of existence. I'm offering you security, Mrs. Park said calmly. You're a single woman with a career that requires international travel and long hours. A child will derail your ambitions. This money ensures you and your baby are taken care of without complicating my son's life further. Complicating, Kate laughed bitterly. That's what I am, a complication. My son has responsibilities. A company to run, a family legacy to uphold, an engagement that secures our future. You represent chaos, Ms. Williams, and we've had quite enough chaos for 1 year. I'm not taking your money. Kate moved to the door, opened it. And I'm not going anywhere. Jason is this baby's father whether you like it or not. Mrs. Park stood, her expression hardening. You cannot possibly believe you fit into our world. Your background, your culture, everything about you is wrong for our family. My son needs someone who understands our traditions, who can navigate soul society, who won't embarrass us at every turn. You mean someone Korean? I mean someone suitable. Mrs. Park moved toward the door, pausing beside Kate. You seem like a smart woman, smart enough to recognize when you're not wanted. Take the money. Disappear. Save yourself and your child from years of rejection and regret. She left, and Kate closed the door behind her, shaking with anger and hurt. Was this her future? Fighting Jason's family for scraps of acknowledgement, watching her child grow up knowing their father's family considered them a mistake. Her phone rang. Jason. Kate, I just heard what my mother did. I'm so sorry. She had no right. She had every right, Kate interrupted, her voice hollow. She's protecting her family. I get it. No, you don't get it. I never asked her to offer you money. I never said I wanted you gone. Kate, please, can we meet? I need to see you. Why? So you can tell me again how complicated this is. How many obligations you have. I'm tired, Jason. I'm tired and pregnant and so far from home, dealing with your family's rejections while you hide behind your company's needs. Then let me stop hiding. His voice was urgent, almost desperate. Give me one chance to do this right. Meet me tonight. There's something I need to show you. Against her better judgment, Kate agreed. Jason sent a car to collect her at 7, taking her not to the city but out toward the mountains surrounding Seoul. They drove for nearly an hour before pulling up to a stunning traditional Korean house, all wooden beams and curved roofs, surrounded by gardens that glowed with lantern light. Jason waited on the porch, and when Kate stepped out of the car, she saw he'd changed into casual clothes, jeans and a soft sweater that made him look younger and more vulnerable. This was my grandfather's house, he said as she approached. He built it 50 years ago, back when this was all farmland. It's the only place I can think clearly. Inside was a beautiful blend of traditional and modern, warm wood and soft lighting creating an intimate atmosphere. Jason had prepared dinner himself, nothing fancy but clearly made with care. They ate mostly in silence, the tension between them a living thing. Finally, Jason set down his chopsticks and looked directly at her. I love you. Kate froze. What? I love you. I've been in love with you since that night at the gallery when you looked at that painting and saw broken things becoming beautiful. When you told me about your parents, about foster care, about building yourself from nothing, all I could think was that you were the strongest, most amazing person I'd ever met. And when we made love, when I held you after, I knew I was ruined for anyone else. Jason, let me finish, please. He reached across the table, taking her hand. These past 3 months have been hell, not just because of my father or the company drama, but because every day I woke up knowing I'd let you slip away. I told myself I was protecting you from my mess, but really I was just a coward. Too afraid to fight for what I wanted because I've spent my whole life doing what's expected instead of what's right. You're engaged, Kate whispered, to someone else. I'm breaking it off tomorrow. I've already spoken to Sun-hee. She wasn't surprised. Apparently, I've been a terrible fiancé, always distracted, never present. She deserves someone who loves her, and that's not me. That will never be me, because I love you. And your mother, your family, the company merger. We'll figure it out. I'm not saying it'll be easy. My mother will be furious. The board will panic. We might lose the merger and have to rebuild in other ways. But Kate, I've spent the last 3 days imagining my life without you, without our baby, and that future is gray and empty and wrong. I choose you. I choose us. I choose our family. Kate wanted to believe him, wanted it so badly her chest ached with it, but fear held her back. All those years of loss and abandonment, making promises sound like pretty lies. What if you change your mind? What if the pressure gets too intense and you decide your family's legacy matters more than this baby? Jason stood, moving around the table to kneel beside her chair. He took both her hands in his eyes fierce and determined. Then you fight me. You remind me of this moment, of this promise. Kate, I'm not perfect. I'm going to mess up, disappoint you, probably make terrible decisions because I'm still learning how to choose happiness over obligation. But I will never, ever abandon our child. Or you, not again. Your mother hates me. She'll come around. And if she doesn't, we'll deal with it together. Your company. We'll survive or it won't, but I'll survive losing it. I won't survive losing you. Kate pulled him up, stood with him, searched his face for any hint of doubt or hesitation. She found only certainty and love and determination. Maybe it was hormones. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was simply that she'd been alone for so long that the promise of partnership, of family, was too tempting to resist. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Okay, we'll try. But Jason, the first time you prioritize your mother's comfort over our child's well-being, the first time you let your family treat me like I'm less than, I'm gone. I won't raise our baby in a home where they're considered a mistake. You won't have to, I promise you, Kate, I promise both of you. His hand moved to her stomach, still flat but sheltering the tiny life they'd created. This baby will know they're loved, by both of us, no matter what anyone else thinks. He kissed her then, and it felt like coming home. Like all the broken pieces Kate had carried for so long were finally finding their place in something whole and beautiful. She let herself believe in him, in them, in the possibility that maybe, just maybe, she'd finally found the family she'd been searching for her entire life. I love you too, she admitted against his lips. I've been trying not to because it's terrifying and complicated and probably really stupid. The best things usually are. Jason pulled her closer, his forehead resting against hers. Stay in Seoul, move in with me, let me take care of you during the pregnancy. I have a business to run in Atlanta. Run it from here, or split your time. I don't care as long as we're together. You're asking me to uproot my entire life. I'm asking you to build a new life, with me, for our family. He pulled back, his expression serious. Kate, I know it's fast, I know we barely know each other, but I've never been more certain of anything. You and this baby, you're my future. Everything else is just details. Kate wanted to be logical, wanted to make a pro-con list, consider all the angles, protect herself from potential heartbreak. But when she looked into Jason's eyes and saw her own desperate hope reflected back at her, logic disappeared. Okay, she said again, but I'm keeping my company and my independence. And if this goes sideways, I want it in writing that I can take our baby back to the States without a custody fight. Deal, he smiled, that beautiful smile that had first captured her heart. Anything else? Your mother, you handle her. I'm not fighting that battle for you. I will, tomorrow, right after I break off the engagement and probably cause a board revolt. He said it lightly, but Kate heard the underlying anxiety. Are you sure about this? Really sure? Because Jason, I can handle being a single mother. I grew up with nothing. I'm strong enough to do this alone. But if you say you're in and then back out later, that will destroy me. Jason cupped her face in both hands, his touch gentle but his gaze intense. I'm not backing out, not now, not ever. You're stuck with me, Kate Williams. Better get used to it. They spent the night at his grandfather's house, talking and planning and beginning to build the foundation of their unexpected family. Kate fell asleep in his arms, feeling safer than she had in months, daring to believe that maybe broken things really could become something beautiful. The next morning, reality crashed back in with a vengeance. Jason's phone started ringing at 6 a.m., his assistant frantic about an emergency board meeting. Someone had leaked news of his plans to break the engagement, and the Flans were threatening to pull their entire investment, which would tank Summit's stock price and potentially trigger bankruptcy proceedings. I have to go, Jason said, throwing on clothes. But Kate, this doesn't change anything. I'll handle this. How? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. He kissed her hard. Stay here, it's safe, private. No one knows about this place except family. I'll be back as soon as I can. He left, and Kate spent the day packing his grandfather's house, alternating between hope and terror. Her phone buzzed with messages from Jai-woo, giving her updates. Board meeting is a disaster. Mom is furious. Sun-hee's father threatening legal action. Jason standing firm, told them all about you and the baby. Half the board walked out. Stock dropped 15%. This is bad, Kate, really bad. Kate felt sick, not morning sickness this time, but guilt. Jason was destroying everything his father built because of her. Because of one night that should have stayed a beautiful memory instead of becoming a complicated reality. Her phone rang. Jason. "How bad is it?" she asked immediately. "Bad, but manageable. Kate, I need you to do something for me." "Anything." "Come to the office. Now, there's someone you need to meet." The car ride back to Seoul felt like traveling toward execution. Kate tried to calm her racing heart, reminding herself that Jason had promised he was in this, that he wouldn't back out. But doubt crept in anyway, whispering that men like Jason Park didn't throw away empires for women like her. Summit's lobby was chaos when she arrived. Reporters camped outside, security trying to maintain order. Jaiwoo met her at a side entrance, looking exhausted. "This is insane," Jaiwoo said, guiding her through back hallways. "The media's calling it the scandal of the year. Billionaire CEO abandons arranged marriage for secret American lover. It's everywhere." "Maybe I should just go home," Kate said. "Let him salvage what he can." "Don't you dare." Jaiwoo stopped, gripping Kate's shoulders. "I've never seen my brother like this. Happy, I mean, actually happy instead of just going through the motions. You did that. Your baby did that. Don't let him lose that because some old men in suits are throwing tantrums." They reached Jason's office. Through the glass walls, Kate could see him with an elegant woman about his age, both of them looking serious but not combative. Sun-hee, she realized. Jason's ex-fiancé. Jason saw her, smiled, waved her in. Kate entered hesitantly, prepared for hostility or tears. Instead, Sun-hee stood and extended her hand. "You must be Kate. I'm Sun-hee, the woman who dodged a bullet." Her English was perfect, her smile genuine. "Please, sit. We were just discussing how to manage this disaster." Kate shook her hand, confused. "I'm sorry. I thought you'd be angry." "About what? Jason breaking our engagement?" Sun-hee laughed. "Kate, that engagement was a business arrangement made by our parents when we were children. Jason and I are friends, maybe even could have been happy enough together eventually. But we don't love each other. We never have. The only reason I agreed to move forward with it was because my father insisted, and I'm terrible at disappointing him." "So you're not upset?" "Relieved, actually." Sun-hee glanced at Jason. "No offense." "None taken," he said dryly. Sun-hee turned back to Kate. "I've been in love with someone else for 3 years. Someone completely unsuitable according to my family. Jason's dramatic gesture gave me the courage to pursue my own happiness instead of my father's approval." "Who?" Kate asked, curiosity overriding awkwardness. "Min-ho, Jason's business partner and best friend. We've been secretly seeing each other and hatting ourselves for it because of the engagement." Sun-hee's expression softened. "But now maybe we don't have to hide anymore." Jason leaned forward. "Which brings us to our solution. Sun-hee's father is furious about the broken engagement, but he's a businessman first. What he really wants is the merger benefits, not necessarily his daughter married to me. So we're proposing a different arrangement. Min-ho and Sun-hee get married, combining their families. Min-ho's tech company partners with Summit. Same financial benefits, different structure." "And your board will accept this?" Kate asked. "Half of them will quit. The other half will grumble but adapt." Jason reached for Kate's hand. "Either way, Sun-hee's father gets what he wants, I get what I want, and everyone moves forward." "What about your mother?" "Still furious, but she'll come around eventually. She usually does once she realizes I'm not backing down." Sun-hee stood. "I should go. Min-ho is waiting and we have our own announcement to make." She paused by Kate's chair. "Take care of him. Jason's a good man, but he's spent too long putting everyone else first. He needs someone who will remind him he deserves happiness too." After Sun-hee left, Kate and Jason sat in his office while chaos swirled around them. Through the glass walls, she could see executives hurrying past, phones pressed to ears, everyone managing the crisis. "Are you sure about this?" Kate asked quietly. "You're gambling everything." "I'm investing everything in what matters most." Jason pulled her chair closer to his. "Kate, in a few years, no one will remember this scandal, but in a few years we'll have a toddler, maybe more kids, a life we built together. That's the future I want. That's what I'm fighting for. What if I mess this up? What if I'm a terrible mother or can't handle soul society or embarrass you constantly? Then we'll mess it up together, he smiled. Kate, I'm not expecting perfection. I'm just asking for partnership. For both of us to show up every day and try our best. That's all any of us can do. Before Kate could respond, the office door burst open. Mrs. Park stormed in, fury radiating from every elegant inch of her. She launched into rapid Korean, and though Kate couldn't understand the words, the tone was crystal clear. Disappointment, anger, betrayal. Jason responded calmly in Korean, his voice firm but respectful. The argument escalated, his mother's voice rising while Jason's remained steady. Finally, Mrs. Park turned to Kate, switching to English. "This is your fault," she said coldly. "You trapped my son, used pregnancy to secure your future." "Mom," Jason warned. Kate stood, meeting his mother's gaze directly. "Mrs. Park, I understand you're angry. I understand this isn't what you wanted for your son, but I didn't trap anyone. I came here to tell Jason about the pregnancy because he deserved to know. What happened after that, the choices he made, those are his choices, not mine. You could have taken the money, disappeared, let him live the life he was meant for." "The life you wanted for him," Kate corrected. "But maybe it's not the life he wants, and maybe, just maybe, that's okay." Mrs. Park's expression remained icy. "You will never be accepted into this family. You will always be the American woman who ruined everything." "Then that's how I'll be remembered," Kate said quietly. "But your grandchild will know they're loved, by me, by Jason, and hopefully eventually by you too." She walked out then, unable to handle more confrontation. Her emotions were too raw, her hormones too chaotic. Jaiwoo caught up with her in the hallway. "That was badass," she said admiringly. "Mom's never been talked back to like that." "She hates me. She hates losing control. Give her time." Jaiwoo linked arms with Kate. "Come on, I'm taking you shopping. You need Korean maternity clothes, and I need to escape family drama for a few hours." They spent the afternoon wandering Seoul's shopping districts, Jaiwoo pointing out baby stores and explaining Korean pregnancy traditions. Despite everything, Kate found herself laughing, enjoying the simple pleasure of friendship. Jaiwoo was easy to be around, funny and warm without the weight of obligation that seemed to follow Jason everywhere. "Can I ask you something?" Jaiwoo said over bubble tea. "Do you love my brother?" Kate didn't hesitate. "Yes, I tried not to because it's complicated and terrifying, but yes, I love him." "Good, because he loves you too. Like, annoyingly so. He's been mopping around for 3 months, pretending he wasn't heartbroken. It was pathetic. He had a lot going on." "Sure, but he also could have picked up the phone. Jason's good at a lot of things, but emotions, not so much. You'll have to be patient with him." "I can do patient," Kate said. "I've waited my whole life for family. I can wait for your mother to come around too." Jaiwoo squeezed her hand. "You're already my sister. The paperwork is just details." That evening, Jason came home to his grandfather's house. He looked exhausted but lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. He found Kate in the kitchen, attempting to make Korean stew from a YouTube tutorial. "How bad is it?" she asked, not turning from the stove. "Honestly, pretty bad. Stock's down 20%. 3 board members resigned. The media is having a field day." He wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. But Min-ho and Sun-hee's engagement announcement helped, and the restructured merger proposal has people cautiously optimistic. We'll survive. "And your mother?" "Still furious, but she didn't disown me, which I'm counting as a win." He turned Kate to face him. "I'm sorry she said those things. You're not a trap or a mistake or anything negative. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Even if I cost you your company." "Even then," he kissed her softly. "But I don't think it'll come to that. We've weathered worse storms. This is just another challenge." "I feel guilty, like I'm ruining your life." "Kate," Jason made her look at him. "You gave me a reason to stop sleepwalking through existence. Before you, I was just going through motions. Work, obligations, expectations. I was successful but miserable. Now I'm fighting for something real. For you, for our baby, for a future that's mine instead of something inherited. That's not ruin. That's salvation. You're very dramatic, Kate said, but she was smiling. I'm Korean. Drama is genetic. He pulled her close. Stay with me tonight and tomorrow, and every night after, build this life with me. I'm scared. Me too, but I'm more scared of letting you go. They spent the evening cooking together, Kate's attempt at Korean stew ending in disaster, but Jason salvaging it with expert adjustments. They talked about the future, about where they'd live and how they'd manage Kate's business and what they'd name the baby. It felt domestic and normal and perfect despite the chaos surrounding them. 3 weeks passed. The storm didn't disappear, but it calmed. The stock stabilized. The restructured merger moved forward. Sun-hee and Min-ho's engagement was announced to much fanfare, their love story providing a romantic distraction from the previous scandal. Kate moved into Jason's penthouse, setting up a home office and beginning to navigate Seoul's business culture while managing her American clients remotely. Mrs. Park remained distant but not openly hostile. She and Kate maintained a careful politeness, neither warm nor completely cold. It wasn't ideal, but it was manageable. Kate's pregnancy progressed. Morning sickness gave way to a small bump that Jason couldn't stop touching. They went to ultrasounds together, Jason holding her hand and crying when they heard the heartbeat. They argued about nursery colors and baby names and whether they wanted to know the gender. It was messy and complicated and absolutely beautiful. I still can't believe this is real, Kate said one evening, both of them lounging on the couch while Jason read pregnancy books. What part, the baby or us? All of it. 6 months ago, I was alone in Atlanta, convinced I'd never have family. Now I'm in Seoul with a man I love, pregnant with our baby, building something I never thought I could have. Jason set down his book, pulling her closer. 6 months ago, I was drowning in obligations, convinced I'd never be more than my father's successor. Now I'm going to be a father myself, with a woman who challenges me and loves me and reminds me every day that I'm more than just a company or a legacy. We're pretty disgustingly happy, aren't we? Absolutely disgusting, he kissed her. I wouldn't change a thing. But change came anyway, as it always does. A month later, Kate was working in her home office when contractions started. Way too early, 28 weeks early. Jason, she called out, trying to stay calm. Something's wrong. He was there instantly, phone already dialing emergency services, while he helped her to the car. The drive to the hospital was a blur of pain and fear, Jason's hand gripping hers while he spoke rapid Korean to someone on the phone. The hospital was chaos. Doctors and nurses surrounded her, speaking Korean too fast for her limited understanding. Jason translated when he could, his voice steady despite the terror in his eyes. Premature labor, he told her. They're going to try to stop it. The baby's too early, Kate. 28 weeks is too early. I know, she gasped through another contraction. I know, but they have to try. Hours passed in a haze of pain and medication and fear. Eventually, the contractions stopped. The doctors managed to halt the labor, but Kate was put on strict bed rest for the remainder of her pregnancy. The baby was still in danger. Every day mattered. Jason never left her side. He moved meetings to her hospital room, conducted business from her bedside, slept in the uncomfortable visitor's chair. His mother came once, her expression softening when she saw Kate connected to monitors, the very real danger clear in medical equipment and worried faces. Is the baby okay? Mrs. Park asked quietly. For now, Kate answered. They managed to stop the labor, but the next few weeks are critical. Mrs. Park sat in the other visitor's chair, hands folded in her lap. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, I was premature, 30 weeks. My mother was alone, my father traveling for business. She told me later she thought we'd both die. But you didn't. No, we're both fighters. Mrs. Park met Kate's eyes, and for the first time, Kate saw something other than disapproval. Perhaps you are too. It wasn't forgiveness, wasn't acceptance. But it was acknowledgement, and that felt like progress. The days blurred together. Kate remained in the hospital for 2 weeks before being released to strict home bed rest. Jason transformed their bedroom into a comfortable prison, stocking it with books and movies and snacks, working from home so he could be near her constantly. "You don't have to do this," Kate said one afternoon, watching him field another business call while sitting next to her bed. "You have a company to run." "I have 2 jobs right now," he replied after ending the call. "CEO and expectant father. The second one is more important." "Your board won't agree." "The board can deal. Kate, I almost lost you both. Nothing else matters." "We're okay now." "You're on bed rest at 32 weeks with a high-risk pregnancy. We're not okay. We're surviving." He took her hand, bringing it to his lips. "But we're doing it together, which makes all the difference." At 34 weeks, Kate went into labor again. This time there was no stopping it. The baby was coming, ready or not. The delivery was intense and terrifying and exhausting. Jason stayed beside her the entire time, letting her crush his hand, whispering encouragement, his face white with fear but his voice steady. And then, after what felt like both an eternity and an instant, they heard it. A cry, thin and weak but definitely there. "It's a boy," the doctor announced in English, "small but fighting." They whisked the baby away immediately, explaining he needed the NICU, needed help breathing, needed constant monitoring. Kate barely got a glimpse of him, a tiny red creature who looked impossibly fragile, before he disappeared behind medical curtains. Jason collapsed into the chair beside her bed, his face in his hands. When he looked up, tears streamed down his face. "We have a son," he whispered. "Kate, we have a son." "Is he okay?" "They don't know yet. He's small, 4 pounds, but he's fighting." Jason gripped her hand. "Just like his mother." They named him James, after Kate's father. Park James Seungjun, bridging both their cultures in a name that honored where Kate came from and where she'd found herself. The first week was touch and go, James struggling with breathing and eating and all the things full-term Bobbies did naturally. Kate and Jason lived in the NICU, taking turns holding him, skin-to-skin contact helping regulate his tiny body. Mrs. Park came often, sitting quietly beside Kate, watching her grandson fight for every breath. Jaiwoo was there constantly, chattering about all the things she'd teach her nephew, keeping the mood light when terror threatened to overwhelm them all. "He's strong," Mrs. Park said one evening, watching James sleep in his incubator. "Like his mother." It was the kindest thing she'd ever said to Kate. Kate felt tears start, hormones and exhaustion and relief all crashing together. "Thank you," she whispered. Mrs. Park reached over, patting Kate's hand awkwardly. "I was wrong about you, not about everything but about your strength, about your love for my son. I see it now." "Does this mean you accept me?" "It means I'm trying." Mrs. Park's smile was small but genuine. "That will have to be enough for now." It was enough, more than enough.